guys? It's Batman Marc, and we're here at the DC Collectibles booth with our good friend Jim Fletcher.
Hey, man. Good to see you as usual.
Same. Always a pleasure hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
We love you guys.
Me, same.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Well,
your panel that you guys did on Thursday was phenomenal.
that was an interesting one. Yeah, we covered a lot of ground on that Thursday panel, I think.
I can't wait for Toy Fair. I'm like drooling.
Yes. We're going to have some new announcements. That's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I was psyched for that.
I bet you were pretty psyched about the continuation of the Batman animated series.
Oh,
line,
my
right?
God.
Sort of the animated series
Yeah,
line.
sort of. You know what? I call it the Bruce Timm stylings.
I mean, he did design the characters for the show, and Paul's been really, Paul Dini's been really involved with these writing character bios and other stuff. This is covering characters in the Batman universe who didn't really get a chance to be on the show.
Exactly, which is something that we love as fans.
I figure.
Just the whole Bruce Timm, Dini style, Paul Dini, just they took it to a whole new level.
No, this show's amazing.
From 92 to present, it still stands the test.
I know, a lot of people that say that's my favorite Batman, is that TV show. We've been in a couple of shows where guys will, if somebody's prototype breaks, you can go to like the NECA booth or the whatever booth or the Funko booth, and somebody usually has something, and everyone's totally willing to help out. It's pretty cool. And I've seen that happen a lot of shows.
That's what I love about this community, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, it's true. It's a great community.
We like the inside backstories, the stories about the shows, getting set up, and all of a sudden, oh shit, leg just fell off. Where can we get?
Yeah, no, it's true. People just run from booth to booth, masking tape or hot glue guns or X-Acto knives. Yeah, it's all kinds of stuff.
And whatever it takes, it works.
It's as long as it holds up for 3 or 4 days. That's all it's got to do.
Exactly.
Not fall down for 3 days.
Exactly. What was a sleeper figure for you? What was the sleeper figure for you in your assortment, in your line?
I would say on the...
Statues, figures, anything. Seriously.
A sleeper, okay, that's a good... So the Bombshells Black Canary, that came out of nowhere. I mean, we all thought it was really cool looking, and it deviates quite a bit from her actual costume, obviously, because it's a bombshell, right. But when that blew me away, how the sales were huge. They came flying in. I'm like, flying out. But Black Canary has always been like, okay. So that thing, we were like, wow, didn't see that coming.
That's awesome.
So that was a good one. And it's really cool when that happens. It doesn't like always obviously happen. That'd be nice. But the Marc Silvestri Batman Black and White, boom,
yes.
Almost sold out already. It's crazy. So I mean, it's great. It's a great statue, but you just sometimes don't know like what's gonna do it.
You don't know what the fans are going to throng for.
Yeah, I mean, some things you can take better guesses than others, but sure. that Black Canary one, that really surprised everybody.
What's your favorite part about this job?
Well, okay. My favorite part about the job is when we get to create stuff and then bring it back into the community. Like Amikami, like Bombshells, like Gotham City Garage. And we can actually come up with something at DC Collectibles and be like out the other way. Because I wanted to draw comic books when I was a kid. So now, and later, I did a bunch at one point, but being able to drive this kind of stuff from inside the company, right. I didn't even know it would be a job. It's freaking amazing. That's the most satisfying part when that happens, and you're like, oh, other people like you look around those Bombshells cosplayers all over the place. So when stuff like that happens, I mean, I got to give Brian Walters a big shout out. He was doing all the heavy lifting for that project. We pitched it a long time ago, and it took like 5 years before somebody listened to us and said that's a good idea. So Jeff Johns basically was like, you know what, that's cool, just do it. I'm like, finally, we've been pitching this for years. So when that stuff happens, it's amazing. It's such a good feeling that people like your stuff that much. When they start cosplaying at it, then you're like,
yes.
All right.
Then you know you've achieved.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah.
How long ago did you get started in this industry, and what was your big break getting you into DC Collectibles?
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, what started me in this industry was I had my own freelance business for a long time. I kept buying toys and buying robots and whatever, you know. And one of my friends, Ed Bolkus, who had my job before me, said, why don't you keep buying all this stuff, why don't you just go design it? I'm like, I don't have the right clients for that. So I started going out of my way to find other clients and just kind of like building up my business in that direction. Then Ed left to go be a VP at New Line Cinema and introduced me to George Brewer at this place. And I remember interviewing with him. I had one interview at licensing show when it was still here.
Oh, wow.
And we're walking around, and most of my clients were in it was all licensing clients. So I worked with, those were great. And I worked with all those people. So I'm like, hey, meet those people. He goes, how many of these people do you know? I'm like, well, I work for that guy and this guy and blah, blah, blah. So we come back in Monday, and he offers me the job on the next Monday after the show. And I remember I go home and I'm with my wife, and my freelance business was doing really well at the time. I just come back from Spin Master and had all these accounts and blah, blah. And I'm like, why don't you just keep doing this? But this guy came in from this job. She goes, very politely, it's my wife, very polite. She's like, just let me tell you what you're going to do. You're going to go back in and accept that job. I'm like, okay. I got it. And so that's 16 almost years ago. So that was my big break in this at DC Collectible. That's how I got in here. So thanks to Ed and George Brewer, because that's why I'm here. So
that's great.
Those guys are great.
Shout out to George Brewer.
And Ed Bolkus, if you watch. Hey, Ed.
And Ed.
Hey, Mom.
I haven't met you yet.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But yeah, we just love what you guys do.
Me too. It's great. I think it shows.
It's a lot of fun. And the fact that we get to interact with you guys, and you guys are such fanboys to begin with.
Well, we're kind of like the fans inside the company. Because it's an odd situation to have because we're not a licensee. Like we are DC, so we're like DC. We're like an extension of the storytelling from inside the company. So it's a very weird, unusual situation. It's not like a licensee coming in and making stuff. We're supposed to be sort of the voice of the fans inside the company, but obviously the voice of the fans sometimes gets shouted out by other things.
Absolutely.
But that's the way it goes.
Exactly, and I was really impressed with the fact that you guys were able to work. I'm not impressed. I knew it would happen eventually. But you've got Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, that was a crazy one.
Guys, I mean, and now he's got the figures license.
Yeah, it should be. It's going to be great. Yeah.
What's your take on all of that? And tell us a little bit about that interaction with Todd.
So when we've been talking to him for years about this 100th statue. Well, not about the 100th statue, but just doing a Todd McFarlane. Black and white. And we talked to him. He's like, look, I got my own company right now. I can't really, doesn't make any sense. So because I can't stop you from doing whatever you want. I drew some stuff and DC owns it. So whatever. And I was like, look, I'd rather have you bless the thing than me just like making something go, whatever. So then I found out about that deal, and then he signed up with us. And I'm like, well, now he's a partner. That's totally different than just some, random guy with his own toy company. Right. So we worked it out, and he was going to do something different, I think, at one point. He's like, that's such an iconic, why don't we just do that? So we had, the rest of the story, to take out the women and blah, blah, blah.
I want you to advance that story a little more here for our audience.
Oh, okay.
We caught that at the panel, but some people that watch this may not watch the panel show. So
why aren't they watching both?
They should. If they're a DC Collectible fan, then they got it.
True DC Collectible.
A true DC Collectible fan.
Okay, so basically what happened is, we went back and forth on a couple things, and Todd said that cover is his most iconic Batman cover, which is true. I mean,
you guys are giving it away as a poster.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Yeah, it's great.
I got him to sign mine yesterday.
Oh, did you? That's awesome. He's super nice.
Marc.
That's pretty good. He's a super nice guy. So he was great to work with. So we said, look, the Batman Black and White line, I had to explain that it doesn't come with other things. It's just Batman. I mean, okay, Marc Silvestri's in a chair. That's the first one of those. Besides him, it's just there's no other people. There's no elements. There's none of that. So I said, I got to take this woman out. It doesn't make any sense out of context. And he's like, okay. So I photoshopped it out. We sent it back to him, but then it's just all black. It's black from like here down, like under his nose.
All you're seeing is his eyes, almost like the animated style.
It's like that, like the lightning bolt. So I said, look, so we tried sculpting it like that. We actually had a mask like this, and then it was just nothing, like black. And we're like, that's too, it just, sometimes stylistically you can get away with it, like the Mignola statue has all those chunky cuts and everything, but I'm like, this just looks weird. So we all agreed, no, that doesn't work. So we referenced Todd's other art, and John Matthews, the sculptor, pulled other elements out of it and just started using them. So I said, look, we also want to make sure we can see this.
The emblem? Absolutely.
Yeah. So you see I wore for my Batman Marc interview today?
Hold on, let's show everybody. He's got his Batman shirt.
That's not the socks, but I wore this today.
That's okay. You wore the socks yesterday.
Yeah, I got to change.
I wouldn't expect you to wear them today.
Man's got to change his socks.
Man's got to change his underwear, too.
Well, that's true. And then so he actually sent it back to him. He's like, this is great. So we added the logo and the belt, because you can see a little bit of the belt.
I didn't see it.
It's only a tiny bit, though. So we don't want to show there's something in there, because I actually tried to draw the body. I'm like, what is he doing, actually? I can't There's no way to tell.
Right. You can't see the angle of these positions.
Yeah. So I sent some stuff off to Todd, and he's like, you know what? It doesn't really matter. It's just I drew it to look cool. It just needs to look cool, and that's why I'm like, yeah, all right, forget it. All right, okay, John, never mind this stuff. Just sculpt that. He's like, okay. That went pretty fast. I mean, Todd said on one of our interviews at San Diego, he was really surprised that John got it that fast. So it wasn't a lot of corrections or revisions. I mean, Todd only changed a few minor things.
The sculptor again is?
John Matthews.
John Matthews.
One of our longest running sculptors.
Right.
Sculpted the most Batman black and whites of anybody. Way more than anybody else.
Do you have an actual count number, a number count on him?
No, but he's way above. It was it's John, then it's Paul Harding, then it's Gene St. Jean. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Gene St. Jean's work.
And that's because there's 3 Lee Bermejos in the line. Right. So I'm like, okay, well, you only get 3.
And they're best buds.
Lee, whenever we do something with Lee, he's like, can you get Gene? Is he available? Actually, we put one on hold until we could get Gene.
That's awesome.
Because their relationship is pretty tight.
So you have no exclusive with Gene per se?
No.
Okay, so he's still freelancing?
Yeah. I mean, why put all your eggs in one basket? I used to freelance. I totally get it.
No, we're going to be interviewing him soon, too.
Oh, are you?
Try and get him for Toy Fair.
Oh, we may or may not have decided to do another project together that he probably can't tell you about. How do you like that?
That's great. He can tease it out for you.
Yeah.
Tease it out for you.
Perfect.
You know how we work. Come on.
We just talked about it at the show. So that's pretty cool.
Excellent.
I'm excited about that one.
Very good.
Yeah, and his Capullo Batman thing that he did.
Yeah.
That was freaking crazy.
The one thing I have to say about your Batman black and whites is that you're able to take a two-dimensional image and convert it with the cape in the billowing form.
Yeah, that thing's crazy.
The wind, the way it's blowing, or how he's landing.
Like the Breyfogle one going all the way up to the side. Yeah.
The Breyfogle one's one of my favorites.
And that cape was bigger when we originally sculpted it. But they were like, you can't produce that. You can't produce that thing. It's too huge.
Incredible.
And we a lot of times don't get the complete set of artwork turnarounds, like drawing the front, side, and back of the character. You've got like one image like 85% of the time.
So the rest is made up out of
the sculptors.
Three-dimensionalizing the figure.
Yeah, so we just work with the sculptors and plow through it. Like even with the McFarlane one, that's it. There's one picture.
Exactly.
And John's like, "What? I'm just figure out the back. We'll just figure it out. I don't know. Try this, try that." And that's how a lot of them work. It's really funny. Like Steve Root, I remember, gave us a beautiful set of turnaround, front, back, both sides. Like I think he drew a top down. Everything. Crazy, drew this crazy thing with all these different angles. I'm like, wow, we never get this much information.
So you actually have to create your own style guide for each statue that you do?
Only if somebody gives us that much stuff.
Okay.
Like the Mike Mignola one, the Todd McFarlane one, the Gene Colan one. We didn't have anything. We had like one drawing. Plus, and then we look at the body of their artwork. That's how you piece it all together.
True.
It's like, oh, I think he was trying to do this over here, and maybe that's what he's trying to do over here.
Right.
That was we did the Jack Kirby toys. That was really fun. But first of all, it's my favorite artist ever. But we even put the squared off fingers on and everything.
Right.
But we went through all the artwork, and John Matthews, who did them, like obviously another Kirby fan, we were trying to figure out how do we translate this stuff, and they're amazing. But we went through, we shipped them a bunch of Kirby stuff. He's going through them. We're going back and forth and talking about how we want to do all the. Like, should we scribe in the weird, cut marks or just paint them on or whatever?
What was that statue you did with the cape? Is an entire map.
Oh, that's the Gerard Way Batman black and white.
Oh my God.
Inside the cape over here is a map of Gotham City.
Right.
And a Crusader cross for some reason, I don't know, because the story never got finished.
Right.
So I don't
that
know.
might have tied into like an Azrael story arc or something.
Let's say okay, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know either. I'm just guessing there,
But he did some other drawings too for that story. I might want to go back and hit up some of those. Because that Joker and that Batman did really well, and they're cool looking. That Batman's so cool. And John did those as well.
Oh, very good.
There you go. See, if you pick one out, it's going to be a John Matthews, probably.
Absolutely. So staying with the black and white theme, last night before we went
to the
black and white theme.
There you go. Clever. I didn't know you have so many black and white questions.
It's one of my favorite lines. If I could collect nothing else, I would collect that, but I'm such a hoarder.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
And that's the problem. But
yeah, that is a good line to collect.
It's my all-time favorite, which is why I'm going to ask you to look into doing something.
Okay.
For the rest of the throngs of the fans like myself, who can't afford a full-size statue, you started doing the minis.
Yeah.
I would appreciate it, and I'm sure the other fans out there would appreciate it as well, is if you carried that line forward and did the 5-packs of the minis with the
little guys, yeah.
the little guys, because I can afford that and put them on my desk at work and not worry about having to find a place to store it in the box and the this and the that. I'll rip those suckers out of the package and stick them on my desk.
Yeah, the good thing about those, it is great for collecting. That's
Absolutely.
for sure. We have a digital scanner in our office, and we have been actively scanning in
To 3D imaging.
everything that. Well, I mean, now most of it's sculpted in 3D, so we don't need it.
Right.
But that line's been going on for 15 whatever years.
I know. I have the first 5.
Those are great.
Love those.
Yeah, so basically we don't have any of that stuff. It's all clay that got destroyed in the molding process, and it's so old that our factories don't have any of that stuff.
I'll trade you mine for some new ones.
some new ones.
Some new ones.
Oh my God! So well, basically, we're starting to scan in a lot of our old material. So
Very
who
good.
knows? Maybe.
What is your dream project that you haven't even slated yet on your calendar?
Oh boy.
What is the dream project that you want to do that you're gearing for?
There may or may not be an announcement at Toy Fair about that. So how's that? That's a good cliffhanger. Cliffhanger. Come back during Toy Fair to find out the fascinating answer. Next 2 months, Nerds in a Bar. Yeah.
The next Nerds in a Bar.
Yeah.
Thank you very
man.
much. We really
All right.
appreciate you, Jim. We appreciate
You
your
too,
crew
man.
and
Thanks for
everything you
covering
do.
us for all these years. Amazing.
Always.
All right.
Thank you.
Say hi to Gene.
I will say hi to Gene. Hey guys, this is Batman Marc from DC Collectibles.
And
with our good
Batman
friend.
Jim.
And Batman Jim. Joker Jim. Well, today
Fine,
Batman
Jim.
Jim.
Yeah, today.
Today Batman Jim. Yesterday was Joker Jim.
That's true. Good
Nerds
stuff.
in the Bar signing off from New York Comic Con 2019 with our good buddy Jim Fletcher. We're out, guys.